505 confirmed kills. 100 days, 40 degrees below zero. November 1939, the Soviet Union invades Finland with over 1 million soldiers, thousands of tanks, overwhelming air superiority, expecting to conquer the small Nordic nation in weeks. Instead, in the frozen forests of eastern Finland, a 34-year-old farmer who stands 5 foot 3 inches tall picks up his rifle, walks into the snow, and begins the most lethal individual combat performance in military history. For the next 3 months, he operates alone in temperatures cold enough to freeze exposed skin in minutes, without optical scope because scopes fog in extreme cold, without spotter or backup, just himself and iron sights and perfect understanding of terrain. And he kills 505 Soviet soldiers in confirmed sniper kills, plus approximately 200 more with submachine gun, making him personally responsible for eliminating an entire Soviet battalion. And the Red Army becomes so obsessed with killing him, they call artillery strikes on positions where they think he might be hiding and send counter-sniper teams specifically to hunt him. But nobody can find the ghost in the snow the Soviets start calling the White Death. March 11th, 1940, final week of the war. An explosive bullet hits Simo Häyhä in the face, destroys half his jaw, and he's found unconscious in the snow with catastrophic head wound that should be fatal, and 11 days later he wakes up from coma on the same day the war ends, having survived injuries that kill most people instantly. He lives another 62 years, refuses to discuss his achievements, works as farmer and moose hunter, and dies at age 96 in 2002 as the most lethal sniper in military history, whose record still stands. This is Simo Häyhä, the White Death, the farmer who stopped an army. Subscribe for impossible courage. Let's begin.
Simo Häyhä wasn't supposed to be a legend. He was supposed to be another Finnish farmer from Rautjärvi in southeastern Finland near the Soviet border, living quiet rural life in small farming community where winters are brutal and summers are short, and most people never travel more than 50 miles from where they were born. Born December 17, 1905 to farming family, youngest of 8 children, growing up in an environment where survival requires self-reliance and practical skills because help is far away and winters kill people who aren't prepared. And by the time he's adult, he knows how to hunt, how to shoot, how to move through forest without making sound, how to survive in cold that would hospitalize most people. Skills that seem ordinary in rural Finland, but will later make him the most dangerous individual combatant in World War II. He does mandatory Finnish military service in 1925, serves 1 year in bicycle battalion, learns basic military skills but nothing exceptional, and when his service ends, he returns to farming and hunting, joins local Civil Guard, which is Finnish volunteer defense organization, where men train for potential Soviet invasion that everyone knows is coming eventually, and through the Civil Guard he develops serious marksmanship skills, practices shooting in all weather conditions, competes in shooting competitions, wins awards for accuracy, and discovers he has natural talent for precision shooting, can hit targets at ranges where most shooters struggle, particularly good at estimating distance and compensating for wind and cold, which are critical skills in Finnish environment. His rifle is Mosin Nagant M2830, Finnish modified version of Russian rifle, iron sights only, no scope, and he practices with it so extensively that the rifle becomes extension of his body. He knows exactly how it shoots in different temperatures, how cold affects trajectory, how to compensate for extreme conditions, and his shooting style is unusual. He shoots from very low positions close to ground where he's harder to see and where he can use snow for concealment and stability, and his hunting background teaches him patience, ability to wait motionless for hours in cold until perfect shot presents itself.
Winter War. Stalin wants to annex Finnish territory and install communist government, sends massive force of over 1 million Soviet troops plus thousands of tanks and artillery against Finland, which has a population of 3.7 million and army of 300,000 with minimal armor and air support. and international observers predict Finland will be conquered in weeks because the disparity in forces is so extreme. But Stalin and his generals don't understand Finnish terrain or Finnish determination, or what happens when you invade country full of people who know how to survive in cold and fight in forests. The Winter War is fought in coldest winter in decades, temperatures regularly hitting -40 Celsius, which is also -40 Fahrenheit, the point where the scales meet, cold enough that metal weapons freeze to unprotected skin, where exposed flesh gets frostbite in minutes, where tanks and vehicles break down, where Soviet soldiers from warmer regions literally freeze to death. But Finnish soldiers, including Simo Häyhä, are adapted to these conditions, wear white camouflage, know how to layer clothing, understand how to fight in deep snow and frozen forests, and the Finnish strategy is not to fight set-piece battles where Soviet numbers would overwhelm them, but to use mobile defense, small unit tactics, snipers, ambushes, making Soviets pay maximum price for every mile of territory. December 1939 through March 1940, Simo Häyhä operates as sniper in Kollaa front, which is forested area near Ladoga, where Soviet forces are trying to break through Finnish lines. And this is where his hunting skills and marksmanship and knowledge of terrain combine to create the most lethal sniper performance ever recorded. His tactics are brutally simple, but executed with perfection. He positions himself in concealment with good field of fire across Soviet approach routes, waits for targets, shoots, relocates before Soviet return fire, repeats. And his kill rate is extraordinary. Some days he kills over 25 Soviet soldiers, most days between 5 and 15 confirmed kills, operating alone or sometimes with a spotter, but always doing his own shooting. His signature technique is shooting from ground-level positions in deep snow. He digs a small pit in snow, lies flat, creates tiny firing port, and from this position he's almost invisible because he's wearing white winter camouflage and he's below Soviet sight lines, and snow provides both concealment and stable shooting platform. And critically, he uses iron sights, not optical scope, because scopes fog and ice up in extreme cold, and also scopes require raising your head higher, which makes you more visible, and sun glint off scope lens can give away position. So Simo shoots with basic iron sights, which requires superior marksmanship but eliminates scope-related problems. His preferred range is 300 to 400 meters, which is close enough for accurate iron sight shooting, but far enough that Soviet soldiers can't easily identify where shots are coming from. And in forest environment with snow and limited visibility, this range is perfect. He can see targets moving through trees, wait for a clear shot, fire, and be relocating before Soviets realize they're under sniper fire. His kill confirmation process is observed by Finnish officers and fellow soldiers. In many cases, bodies are later counted, and Finnish military keeps detailed records. So his 505 confirmed kills are documented, not estimated, making him the highest confirmed individual sniper kill count in military history. The Soviets become obsessed with killing him. Red Army soldiers start calling him Belaya Smert, the White Death, and officers put bounty on him, send counter-sniper teams specifically to hunt him, call artillery strikes on areas where they think he's operating, but Simo is always moving, never shooting from same position twice, knows the forest terrain better than Soviet soldiers who are operating in unfamiliar environment, and his survival skills are as important as his shooting skills. He knows how to move without leaving obvious trails in snow, how to use terrain to mask movement, how to judge when position is compromised and relocate before Soviet response arrives. January through February 1940 are his most productive months. Temperatures are coldest, Soviet forces are suffering from frostbite and cold-related casualties, morale is dropping, and Simo is killing 5 to 15 soldiers per day, sometimes more. And the psychological effect on Soviet troops is severe because they know there's a Finnish sniper who's killed hundreds of their comrades and nobody can find him or stop him. And this creates paranoia and fear that affects combat effectiveness. Soldiers become reluctant to move in certain areas. Officers have to threaten punishment to get men to advance through zones where the White Death operates.
His most famous technique for avoiding countersnipers is keeping snow in his mouth while shooting so his breath doesn't create visible vapor cloud in cold air that would give away his position, and packing snow in front of his position so muzzle blast doesn't disturb snow and create visual signature. These tiny details that most shooters wouldn't think about but make difference between surviving and being killed by a countersniper. He also shoots and relocates very quickly, rarely stays in position more than few shots, understands that staying still in one location is death sentence once Soviets identified general area. In addition to sniper rifle, Simo also operates Suomi KP submachine gun during close encounters and defensive actions. And with submachine gun, he kills approximately 200 additional Soviet soldiers in confirmed kills, bringing his total to over 700 confirmed kills during the Winter War, making him personally responsible for eliminating casualties equivalent to an entire Soviet battalion. And this is one man in 100 days, operating in conditions that would hospitalize most people from cold exposure alone.
March 6, 1940. Finnish defensive line at Kollaa is under heavy Soviet assault. Final major push before armistice. And Simo is in defensive position, engaging Soviet infantry with his sniper rifle. Has been fighting continuously for over 90 days, has over 500 confirmed kills, and another sniper duel develops. Soviet counter-sniper has identified general area where Simo is operating, and during exchange of fire, an explosive bullet hits Simo in the left side of his face, the kind of bullet designed to fragment on impact, creating massive wound. And the impact destroys his lower jaw, removes teeth, causes catastrophic facial trauma, and he falls unconscious in the snow. Finnish soldiers find him bleeding out in snow, face destroyed, barely alive, and they evacuate him to field hospital, expecting him to die because wounds are so severe. Most people shot in face with explosive ammunition die immediately or within minutes, but Simo survives initial trauma, is transported to better medical facility. Surgeons operate to stabilize him, and he remains unconscious in a coma with massive head injuries. And doctors tell his family to prepare for the worst, because even if he survives, he'll likely have severe brain damage from trauma. March 13, 1940, 11 days after being shot, Simo Häyhä wakes up from a coma on the same day the Winter War ends with armistice between Finland and Soviet Union. And his first awareness is that the war is over and Finland remains independent even though the Soviets extracted territorial concessions. His survival is considered medical miracle. Explosive bullet to face should be fatal, but combination of immediate first aid, good surgical care, and Simo's physical toughness results in survival, though his face is permanently disfigured, requires extensive reconstructive surgery over following years, multiple operations to rebuild jaw and facial structure. Post-war, Simo returns to civilian life, works as farmer and moose hunter in Finland, refuses interviews about his wartime service, doesn't talk about the 505 kills, doesn't seek recognition or publicity, lives quietly for next 60 years, and when occasionally asked about his achievements, says he was doing his duty defending Finland and prefers not to discuss it. International media tries to interview him. Military historians want to study his tactics. Documentaries want to film him, and he declines them all, maintains privacy, focuses on farming and hunting, treats his wartime service as unpleasant necessity, not source of pride. He continues hunting in Finnish forests until advanced age, and fellow hunters report he maintains excellent shooting skills, even with facial injuries and advancing years, and his knowledge of forest and animal behavior remain exceptional, and people who know him describe quiet, modest man who happens to be the most lethal sniper in history, but doesn't want to discuss it. He receives Finnish military decorations and honors, attends some official functions, but generally avoids publicity, and Finnish public respects his desire for privacy while acknowledging his extraordinary service. April 9, 2002, Simo Häyhä dies at age 96 in a veterans nursing home in Finland, having lived 62 years after the explosive bullet that should have killed him, and his obituaries in newspapers worldwide note that the White Death, the most successful sniper in military history, has died of natural causes after long life. And military historians emphasize that his record of 505 confirmed kills in under 100 days remains unbroken and likely will never be broken because modern warfare doesn't create conditions where individual snipers can operate with such effectiveness for extended periods. The question of how he achieved this kill count is worth examining, because 505 confirmed kills in 100 days means averaging 5 kills per day every day for over 3 months, which requires not just exceptional marksmanship, but physical endurance in extreme cold, ability to locate targets consistently, survival skills to avoid being killed by counter-snipers, and mental fortitude to maintain performance under constant stress. Most snipers in history accumulate kills over years of service. Simo did it in 3 months, and the winter war conditions partially explain this. Soviet forces were advancing through forested areas where Finnish defenders had terrain advantage. Visibility was limited. Temperatures were extreme, creating Soviet cold weather casualties and reduced operational effectiveness. And Finnish tactics emphasized small unit actions and snipers, which created target-rich environment. His choice of iron sights over optical scope is crucial to his success because in -40-degree conditions, optical scopes fog internally, lenses ice over, adjustment mechanisms freeze, and scope adds weight and height to rifle profile, requiring shooter to raise head higher, which increases visibility, while iron sights remain functional in all temperatures, are lighter, allow shooting from lower positions, and Simo's exceptional eyesight and experience with his specific rifle meant he could shoot accurately at ranges where most iron sight shooters would struggle. His hunting background gave him patience and ability to read terrain and predict target movement and remain motionless for extended periods waiting for shots, skills that are difficult to teach but natural to experienced hunter. The psychological warfare aspect is significant because once Soviet soldiers knew about the White Death and the extraordinary kill count, fear spread through units operating in his area. Soldiers became reluctant to move in open areas. Officers had to use threats and discipline to maintain unit cohesion, and this psychological effect multiplied the tactical impact beyond the actual casualties. One sniper was degrading combat effectiveness of much larger Soviet force through reputation as much as actual shooting. The comparison to other successful snipers in military history shows how exceptional Simo's performance was. The second highest confirmed sniper kill count is probably around 400 kills accumulated over a much longer period. Most elite snipers have lifetime totals of 1 to 200 confirmed kills. Simo got 505 in 3 months, and the conditions he operated in make it more impressive. Extreme cold, limited daylight hours in Finnish winter, constant Soviet counter-sniper efforts, artillery strikes targeting his suspected positions, and he survived it all until the final week of the war. His physical characteristics are interesting because he was 5 foot 3 inches tall, which in military context is disadvantage for most roles, but for sniper operating in snow, it's advantage. Smaller profile is harder to spot, requires less concealment, easier to move in tight spaces, and his modest size probably contributed to his ability to remain undetected. His farming background meant he was physically tough and adapted to hard outdoor work in all weather. And Finnish culture emphasizes sisu, which is concept of stoic determination and perseverance through hardship that's difficult to translate, but basically means refusing to quit regardless of circumstances. And sisu probably explains how he maintained performance through 100 days of extreme conditions. The medical aspect of his survival after the explosive bullet is remarkable because facial wounds from explosive ammunition are typically fatal, the bullet fragments creating massive tissue destruction and often causing brain damage or blood loss that kills before medical treatment is possible. But Simo received immediate first aid from Finnish soldiers who stopped the bleeding, was evacuated quickly to field hospital where surgeons stabilized him, and his physical toughness helped him survive trauma that would kill most people. The 11-day coma is also unusual. Most coma patients either wake within days or don't wake. His 11-day unconscious period, followed by recovery, suggests severe brain trauma that somehow resolved without permanent cognitive damage, though physical damage to face required years of reconstructive surgery. His post-war life demonstrates remarkable consistency. He didn't leverage his fame into political career or business ventures or media appearances, just returned to farming and hunting and lived the life he would have lived if war never happened, showing that his wartime service was interruption of his preferred existence, not defining achievement of his life. This humility is rare among highly successful military figures. Most embrace their accomplishments, at least to some degree. Simo actively avoided recognition and publicity, suggesting his motivation during war was defending Finland, not personal glory. The legacy of Simo Häyhä within Finland is that he represents Finnish determination during Winter War, the idea that small nation with inferior forces could fight a much larger aggressor to stand still through superior tactics and individual courage and refusal to surrender. And his 505 kills symbolize what individual Finn could accomplish when defending homeland. The Winter War is source of national pride in Finland, because despite losing territory in armistice, they maintained independence and inflicted disproportionate casualties on Soviet forces, and Simo's achievements are part of that narrative. The military lessons from his career are about maximizing individual effectiveness through superior knowledge of terrain and conditions. His success came from understanding Finnish forest environment better than Soviets, knowing how to operate in extreme cold, using simple, reliable equipment that functioned in all conditions rather than complex systems that failed in extreme weather, and maintaining discipline to relocate frequently and avoid patterns that counter-snipers could exploit. Modern military snipers study his tactics, but can't replicate his results because modern warfare has surveillance technology and coordination that makes solo sniper operations more dangerous and less effective than in 1940. The question of whether his kill count could be exceeded is interesting, because modern sniper equipment is far superior to what Simo used. Optical scopes are weatherproof, rifles are more accurate, ammunition is more consistent, but modern battlefields have drone surveillance, thermal imaging, instant communication, artillery with precision guidance, making it much harder for sniper to operate undetected for extended periods. Simo operated in an environment where Soviet forces had limited ability to locate single sniper in a vast forest. Modern military has technology that would identify sniper position within minutes of first shot, so his record is probably safe not because modern snipers are less skilled, but because modern conditions don't permit the kind of sustained solo operations he conducted. The moral question of celebrating 505 kills is worth addressing. Simo was killing Soviet soldiers who were invading his country, defending Finland against unprovoked aggression, and his effectiveness probably saved Finnish lives by degrading Soviet combat capability. But 505 human deaths is still 505 families who lost someone. And Simo himself seemed uncomfortable with being celebrated for killing, which suggests he understood the moral weight even if actions were militarily justified. His refusal to discuss his achievements may have been not just humility, but recognition that killing, even in a justified defensive war, isn't something to glorify. If you know someone who's facing impossible odds where everyone says the situation is hopeless and resistance is futile, but their judgment says keep fighting, someone who needs a reminder that individual determination and superior skill can influence outcomes that seem predetermined by numbers and resources, share this story. not because everyone should be Simo Häyhä, but because sometimes we need reminders that David beats Goliath not through matching Goliath's strength, but through using different tactics and leveraging different advantages. That fighting on your terrain with your skills against enemy who doesn't understand environment can overcome superior numbers, and that one person who refuses to quit can accomplish things that seem impossible when measured against conventional forces. Subscribe to this channel for more stories of warriors who redefined possible through skill and determination. Battles where individual expertise changed outcomes that seemed predetermined. And soldiers who proved that warfare isn't just about numbers and firepower, but about knowledge and adaptation and refusal to accept defeat. Hit the notification bell because we're bringing you more proof that human performance under extreme conditions exceeds normal expectations. More examples of individuals who influence strategic outcomes through tactical excellence. And more warriors who showed that the difference between impossible and accomplished is often just the decision to maintain excellence under circumstances that would break most people. And remember, when you face your own impossible situation, your own moment when the numbers say you can't win and conventional wisdom says accept defeat, you have the same choice Simo Häyhä had. You can look at superior opposing forces and surrender to inevitability, or you can leverage your advantages and fight from your strengths and see what one person with superior knowledge and skills can accomplish. Simo Häyhä was 5'3" farmer who stopped Soviet battalion through marksmanship and forest skills and refusal to be intimidated by overwhelming numbers, and survived explosive bullet to face and lived another 62 years because he was too tough to die when convenient. That combination of skill and toughness and humility made him legend. What will you accomplish when you stop accepting other people's assessment of odds?